Live here tonight on the American Sim Network, it is the Sim500 Coastal Safety Auditors Cup Series. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. How you doing tonight, Jacob?
I am doing fantastic. Looking forward to, this race here at Autoclub Speedway. It's a fantastic 2-mile racetrack, and a lot of strategy I see will come into play in this one.
Yeah, that is for sure. Currently looking at Chad Coleman as he comes out of pit road. Saw Daniel Falkingham top the speed charts during practice. Now, how do you think he's going to do during the race and during qualifying? That's the big question.
Well, it's one thing at this track to have a one-lap speed. You have to have a long run. You have to have a good race car in the long run at this track, which means if you have to save your tires, you will most likely have to do that as well as just keeping up with this drafting pack. So yes, you could qualify well, but not necessarily have a fantastic race because it's really tough at this track in general with the track temperature and all of that. So everything, in my opinion, will just have to go right for not only him, but for the rest of these drivers. So that's going to be a big key is, will he have that long run pace? And hopefully he does.
Yeah, and right now, going into this race, the fourth race of the season, not counting, of course, the duels and the clash. Third race of the season, then not counting the duels and the clash, rather. He's looking for his second win. He won last week at Las Vegas. His teammate, David Comstock, won the first week. So it would be kind of interesting to see if he can have a back-to-back win. That being, of course, the driver of the 39 car to which we are referring. As we watch drivers start to put times up, Coleman is the fastest so far. He's got a fast-looking 38 machine. Josh Bonwell a little bit quicker. Let's see what Coleman's second lap looks like. Coleman's second lap, good for second. Josh Bonwell, he's had a rough last 2 weeks, but looks like he might be starting things off right in week number 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. Starting things off here correct in week 3. Just a perfect balance for sure for his car is what it looks like at the moment. But just looking at these times, look at how close they are from all the way to the top 20. It doesn't even end. Well, I take it back. Yeah, it doesn't even end in the 41s, basically. A 41.993 is the last time in the 41s. So very impressive just with this whole field. It's going to be a very close race if we can tell.
Yeah, Steven Ritter across the stripe, now fourth on the speed charts. Pretty good run. 41.462, his hot lap. Jeremy Watkins on his second flyer. Now, he's currently 18th. The question, of course, gonna be, does that second lap improve upon the first? He was 41.647. Fast mile an hour, 172.95. Looking pretty quick through the corner. 151 looked like his top. And actually looks like he was on his third lap. Thought he was still on a speed lap there. Brandon Key on his second speed lap. Be good for 14th. Daniel Falkingham. Now here's the driver that was fast in practice. His teammate Comstock is currently your pole sitter. What is Falkingham going to do? Well, he is going to go right to 29th. Let's see. Now to first. There we go. About to say that didn't seem right. Now he is your pole sitter. Mark Cretan on his fast lap. So Cretan trying to run his fast time. What do you think he's going to put up here, Jacob?
I think he can put up a top 5, top 10 for sure. Even maybe steal the pole away from Falkingham and, basically steal the pole away from Falkingham. But you talk about how close this pack has been as well as this whole top 5. It's going to be very impressive to see where he ends up falling.
Yeah, it looks like qualifying ending here. Drivers now getting ready to grid up here at Auto Club Raceway at Fontana, California, or if you're old school, California Raceway. But it hasn't been called that since, what, 2007? But anyway, at any rate, starting lineup time. Let's get at it. It is going to be Josh Parker, Daniel Falkingham, row 1. So pretty impressive front row. 41.399, 41.413. Falkingham just missing the pole. Barely by about a tenth. David Comstock and Jason Barham. Chad Cole, Steve Ritter, Tommy Ryan, Jose Gonzalez, Jimmy Coleman, and Brian Macklin. Glenn Campbell, Randy Yoakum, Josh Bonwell, Steve Burnett, Chad Coleman, EJ O'Rourke, Brandon Key, Bill Schoonover, Jonathan Lockhart, and Thomas Cristiano, Samuel Labuddy, and Kevin Brown. Bertel Surfs and Richard Beasley, Jeremy Watkins, Joey Katina, Bobby Wetzel, and Jeff Ryan, Ed Burrell, and Gerald West, Ricky Hardin, Brian Beach, Michael Yarrow, Steve Haring, Jay Randall Watkins, and Doug Sigmund, John Wilco, James Small, and Mark Cretin, 20 rows deep, will round out your field. So a huge field of drivers, I believe almost a full field here tonight, if everyone takes the grid. So it should be a good night of racing. What do you expect here from the opening laps, Jacob?
Opening laps, well, a lot of close battles and a couple of drivers probably trying to make it 3 wide here early. There are enough lanes to do that, but of course it'll be interesting to see who decides to try and drop back into the back of the pack, because 100 laps is still plenty of racing. You talk about that the NIS series did that, as well as the Coca-Cola iRacing eNASCAR series ran about 100 laps here as well. So it's going to be very interesting. I expect a lot of close racing and close battles here early until they single file out.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting to see. I think that's a pretty good assessment of things as well. Let's talk about your pole sitter, Josh Parker. Now, factoring in the other races we've had, including the Clash, Josh Parker has an average finish of 15th and an average start of 11th. So this is going to boost that up. Now, of course, Parker has only ran Daytona and Las Vegas. He did not take part in the Clash or the duels. So he ran the opening race and, of course, last week. Started 5th at Daytona, 18th at Vegas, 17th place finish at Daytona, 7th at Las Vegas. Starts on pole here tonight in race number 3, points race number 3 of the season, I should say. And the question is, does he finish on pole here tonight? I think that's a question on a lot of people's mind going into this. Certainly on his own. And I guess we'll find out. I'll let you get the green here, Jacob.
All right, sounds good. Pace car moments away from going down. There we go. Pace car is down and away, and we're moments away from racing here in California. And we are green here.
There you go.
Fantastic start by the 23 car. Got a great push by none other than David Comstock.
Yeah, good start there for the front of the field. Down and away into turns 1 and 2 they go. It looks like Josh Parker already pulling away to a single file lead. Trying to, anyway, we got a car spinning out. We got cars scrambling in the back. And who is that with no front end? I don't know if you see him, Jacob, but they are all the way in the back. I want to say it's the 38, and it is. That is Chad Coleman. So Chad Coleman, unfortunately, losing the front end of that race car on that initial start. So that is not a good start to the night for the driver of that number 38 car.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I kind of talked about it before the race started, that you would kind of see a lot of drivers just scrambling for position, especially if you wouldn't get started in that back of the field. And, well, That's exactly what we saw, and it stinks, but that's, of course, racing. You have to stay away from Brexton. He wasn't able to, so now, of course, he'll have to, well, just try to gain it back. Luckily, it is very early in this race, and so or at least I expect a couple of cautions, so he'll probably get his laps back in no time and come back out here and be fine.
Yeah, I'm expecting 1 or 2, but not the way you want to start your night. Ed Burrow down pit lane. Coming out of the pits, looks like he's had something gone wrong. Oh, it looks like he's retiring that car. And you never want to see that. Only 3 laps into the race. The 88, Jimmy Coleman, coming out of the pits. He's got damage. And I imagine that might have been who Chad made contact with. James Small, a lap down. Or will be a lap down eventually. But yeah, it looks like Ed Burrow might be retiring that race car, so he had to tow it back to his pit box. You never want to see that kind of incident only 3 laps into a race. It's way too early on for something like that. As you see David Comstock with teammate Falkingham trying to get around Josh Parker as he was looking for a spot. Looked a little towards the bottom, looked towards the top. Didn't really go for it, just kind of sizing him up, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the way that the package is as well reminds me of, well, the Autoclub package that the Indy cars have. Now, when they used to, or still run here, but a couple of years ago, they had this exact type of package where they would run really close together and would have, well, you'd get a run, you'd try to make that move, but it was very difficult to just stick it on the bottom and to try and pass them. So it's going to be a lot of that, if I had to guess, from the rest of this race, because the top line, it's not going to be there until maybe close to the end of this race, and it might not even come into play for the whole time.
Yeah, that is for sure. Look at Chad Cole there, car number 17, a few paces back, about two car lengths back to Daniel Falkingham. He's having a great night so far. Again, we're only 6 laps into this race, but really, he ran, mid-pack at Las Vegas and already 4th place here. That's great to see and could be a precursor for the rest of this night, along with Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah, exactly. They were just drivers that had a great starting position as well, which of course helps him. And right now, I thought that it would kind of be different. Even if you were to have 1 lap pace, you wouldn't necessarily have a lot of pace throughout the rest of this race. Well, I was completely wrong. A lot of these drivers so far that we've seen have kind of stayed in that same position. So it's showing that they have a lot of pace and have an opportunity to maybe even to win this race. It could come down to fuel mileage, and who knows, that strategy could play key, especially if you still have pace in the late runs.
And right now, another driver exiting the pits. It looks like that is Ed Burrow. So luckily, he did not retire the race car, folks, but he is, unfortunately, 5 laps down as they currently run back their 39th position. He started in 29th. You know, again, this is never a situation you want to see so early on into the night. I mean, he is, I hate to say it, but I think he's completely shot of a chance of, really a good finish.
Yeah,
not going to make up 5 laps here.
Exactly. I'd have to sadly agree with you there. It's just the way that these drivers especially are panning out now, kind of just going single file, and you see, especially up front, how they're kind of running away with this thing and also not necessarily racing each other, shows you that there might not be a caution. Now, of course, we did see at Las Vegas, and this is a big thing. Yes, it was in the Xfinity Series race, but it's kind of the same deal here. You will have to make sure to not necessarily run your tires too hard or heat up your rear tires or something like that, because then you won't have a really good run, and B, will have a chance to spin out and have a caution thrown because of yourself. And so just thinking about all of that can show that there's not a lot of likeness of a caution to happen.
And you see Kevin Brown side by side now with Thomas Cristiano. This is for 14th place. And it looks like Brown's faster. Here comes Joey Gattina looking to the bottom. This is going to be for 15th now. Good run right there on that bottom lane, right under the seam. And he'll wash up just a little bit, but he will clear. Yes, he will. Thomas Cristiano So Gattina looking a little bit quicker as he starts to work his way towards the front of the field. 10 laps into this race now. And
yeah, up to 15th position, and you're just showing he's got that pace, and also he is catching the 93 of Kevin D. Brown as well. He's catching that front pack, or that mid pack to be exact. So he's in a perfect position here early, especially when we start to think about those pit stops, if the tires will go before, of course, the car's fuels will, and other things like that. So a perfect position to just keep on gaining spots. Now, you don't want to push it too much, but you, of course, want to keep that pace, and I think he's at a perfect pace at the moment to gain some position.
Yeah, Kevin Brown, speaking of gaining position, already now going for a pass on the 09 Bill Schoonover. Brown is looking incredibly quick. We saw him get by Cristiano. He's got to hold off Gattina, though. That'll be a good test. That 14 car was fast at Daytona. Didn't win a race during Speed Weeks, but still very fast driver. And it'll be interesting to see what he does here tonight in Auto Club. And you can see they are pretty much single file as they run for the most part. They're a little bit passing here and there, though. So I think that's interesting, too. We saw Las Vegas last week. There was a lot of side-by-side racing, and here it's a little bit more mellowed out.
Yeah, exactly. Besides the start of this race, it is very much mellowed out. If you do get a run on a race car, you want to try and, of course, pass it. But the only problem is if you get out of shape, or not necessarily out of shape, but just out of line, especially in this backstretch. Let's say you're trying to go on the inside, you have a run on them, but they have that high line and still have that momentum carry themselves around, or that middle line basically, into the high line of the backstretch, then, well, you're in a terrible position. You'll start to lose a lot of ground that you've made up because of everyone in single file. So right now, no one wanting to take that risk at the moment.
And you can see here, look at the 09 Schoonover. He gets a little bit of a run on Burnett. Not quite enough to A, close that car length gap, and B, get to his inside. So it's like there's kind of a wall of air in between these race cars as well. That, you know, you get there, but you can't punch through it. Even look here, the 93 and the 14, that, you know, Kevin Brown and Gattina, they're keeping about a one-car gap between each other. Not a one-car gap, about maybe quarter of a car length, half a car length, if you know, however you want to get technical, probably more closer to a quarter. But, you know, you're not doing that on purpose. You're doing that because you can't close that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You just physically can't at the moment, and it's very difficult to do that here at this racetrack. The 93 has been very close to doing it, as he is going to go for a move on the inside, side by side with Bill Schoonover.
Kevin Brown to the inside. Now he's going to get a little bit of help from the 14 of Gattina. This is really how you have to make a pass here. If you don't have help from the guy behind you, and you'll see what Schoonover does now because Gattina backed out of it, he'll just hold him off right there because, again, it's all about momentum, and the 09 had the most of it. Joey looks to the bottom now, not saying that he wants to work with the 93. He says he wants to pass him. He wants the spot. And it looks like Joey going to try and leapfrog the both of them. Not going to happen, though, but he will get the one spot on the 93.
Yeah, he'll get it right back. Gattina able to keep that momentum going. Is he going to have an opportunity at the 09 of Schoonover? Not at least yet. So that's going to be an interesting thing. He'll have to get some help from Kevin Brown, and that's going to be an interesting thing if Brown decides to try and help him. And look who's joined the party. None other than Thomas Cristiano right behind him.
Yeah, he's coming back into the picture slowly but surely. And, you know, you saw him back off for like a few laps, and now he's back. Look at the 31, Brandon Key. We haven't talked about him all night. Now he's saying he wants to be a part of it, and he is, as he tries to run the high line. We haven't seen that much here tonight, as he was getting up towards the wall there trying to get by Thomas Cristiano. Now, we saw the high line in the real Xfinity race. Haven't seen it so far tonight, and it almost worked for that 31 team, but didn't quite work out, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it will take more time in this race at least, as I think maybe some contact was made there with the 09.
Yeah, it looked like he hit the wall potentially as he dove to the bottom of the racetrack. 3 wide now for position.
That's one thing about this racetrack and also this race with the Cup cars. You make one mistake, kind of, or you kind of just lose that momentum, as we have been talking about. The whole field will be right there at your bumper or door to try and just pass you for position. So that's, of course, one thing that you don't necessarily want to get stuck in if you're in the midfield for sure. It's just very difficult, as we said, to gain positions, but it is very easy to lose them.
Yeah, that is for sure. Speaking of gaining positions, look at Joey there leapfrogging just everyone. He goes right ahead with that whole cluster of cars going 3 wide. Took the opportunity, broke free. Now he's going for Randy Yoakum, Steve Burnett, and Jason Barham in that number 83 car. And that little group of 3 there, because you got Joey kind of stuck in the middle. He's all by himself there, so I guess it's just going to be a matter, kind of like Daytona. Whatever pack he catches the draft of the first is going to be who he sucks up to, whether that's the pack behind or in front of him. And I think it's going to be the one in front of him, as that will become a 4-car group, as they're also closing in on E.J. O'Rourke.
Exactly, and that's fantastic for Joey Gattina. Gattina able to get away from, well, that midfield pack that we were talking about, because they were battling it out. And, well, as you keep doing that, if, let's say, the front pack was also doing that too, they would lose a lot of time. So he's able to get away from that and catch the pack and make it a 4-car pack and maybe try a move on Randy Yoakum when the time comes. And he's been an impressive racer for sure at the moment, because he hasn't necessarily, like I said, he hasn't been pushing too much, but he's got that perfect pace early on.
Yeah, well, now he just tagged the wall, unfortunately. Yoakum just ate the wall, actually. Right side's pretty thoroughly beat up, as he's going to go well back. We'll get a little closer to your front field. Look at Josh Parker. Now, here's the thing. Josh Parker has led soon to be 20 laps. Daniel Falkingham not had it go at the lead yet. You think he's holding back on purpose? What do you think there?
Oh, I think he's holding back on purpose for sure. Or really just, you can always also be that intimidator. It reminds me of the old NASCAR games from EA Sports when you'd press like the A button or the X button if you had a PS, and you kind of intimidate him. That's kind of what he's doing. He's not really trying to pounce, because he knows, if I go onto the outside or the inside and don't necessarily have that momentum, I could lose more positions. So just work on being behind him, and if he makes a mistake, then I pounce.
And right now, you can see Chad Cole. Again, we mentioned him a little bit earlier. I said he's having a good night, and he still is. You know, he started 5th up to 3rd, and I think he's hung on to 3rd for pretty much the entire start of this race, the entire first 21 laps so far.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, another driver in a perfect position. Just when you're up front, especially at a race like this track, they're only in the late going of a race like this will it be a bad thing to be kind of up front, because of course you will never know. You'll try to go for an attack or a move that could send you into the wall and make you lose some positions or wreck your race car or something like that, basically going for broke. But right now, early on, 3rd place, he'll be able to pit with that lead group, or let's say if Josh Parker decides to pit early, he can pit that next lap and be safe as well. So it can all just play out into his favor, as well as, of course, Daniel Falkingham's and even this top 5. So in a great position at the moment, as I think I see a battle right behind that pack.
Yeah, you're referring to the 30, Brian Mackling, Glenn Campbell, perhaps. They are side by side. This is for position number 7. That trans service machine on the outside. He'll make the pass. And good pass there.
I think there's still more to this battle, though, as he was able to shut the door for the meantime. But will the 30 of Brian Macklin have anything to say here? Will he try a move? No. He'll just stay behind him.
Remember, Brian Macklin, this is his first season running with these guys in the Cup Series. Now, he runs the Xfinity Series quite regularly. Caution flag is flying, and it is a bit of a big one. Looks like Brandon Key got a piece of it. Jonathan Lockhart in it as well. What happened here? Oh, boy. Let's get that again. Let's see one more time. Looks like Key on the outside, Lockhart in the middle. They were 4 wide. Key came down just a little bit, and that's the end of that. Lockhart, well, he got the lucky end of that stick, I'd say. We'll watch it from the chopper cam. Watch the 6 here. And you'll see. We'll go to the chopper right there. Watch the 6. Doesn't hit anything. Maybe flat spots the tires. Maybe. He'll be good to go. 4 fresh Eagles, that's all he needs. The 07, though, Bertel Surfs, he got in it in a bad way. Watch what happens to him. Again, chopper cam, look at the 07. You see him, battleship gray car there. Tags, what was that, the 13, and then got himself around hard into the wall. But, yeah, you want to talk about a driver that got away fine on that? Jonathan Lockhart. No damage, just, you know, a little bit of touch-up to the tires.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to be very important, as, of course, talked about it before with the new tire model. We saw it really the first hand with the Xfinity cars and how much they need the fresh rubber as well, and, of course, cars. You flat spot the tire, it's going to be very dangerous. So you don't necessarily know if they're flat spotted unless you kind of can feel that vibration. But for sure, just like he said, 4 fresh Goodyear tires and he'll be down and away. And it doesn't matter because guess what? Everyone else is coming down pit lane too.
And right here, everyone hitting the pits. So, pretty good entry. Oh, looks like it was the 83 car. Had to back it up into the box. I think that was the 83. He's getting service right now. We'll find out. And, yeah, that's Jason Barham. So he's going to lose a lot of ground on pit lane. And he'll come out right in front of Jeff Ryan, or actually might have been right behind Jeff Ryan. So he went from, what, right around the top 5 to just outside the top 20. Josh Parker, your race leader. We're going to try and talk to Glenn Campbell, though. He was in a pretty good battle for around 4th place. So we'll try and get him up here. If we can. That channel there. So Glenn, whoop.
Move too.
Glenn Campbell, have you got a copy on me?
I got you.
All right, man. Well, you are currently running in, well, about 7th place. How's that car handling for you?
Actually, it's actually I like it. It's tight, it's snug, but you gotta take care of that right front tire.
All right. Well, what do you think of the racing so far? How's the track been tonight?
Track's been good. Nice fair race. Kind of just follow a leader. Hard to pass here, that's for sure. Till another car gives up his tires and you get around them. But it's gonna be hard to pass all night.
All right. Well, any sponsors you want to mention?
Well, I do appreciate Trans Service being on my car. A couple of my teammates are in here with me. They sponsor the Monday Night Series too, also. So yeah, Trans Service and all my teammates here, Sim Racing.
All right, and one last question for you. I have a question about one of the logos on your car there. The big old ShopRite logo on the side there, is that a sponsor? Do you just have that there?
That is we service ShopRite. We service Walgreens. That's what our company does. They're customers of ours. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. I was just interested in that. And good luck in the rest of the race, my man. I mean, you're doing great so far. You're having a great run there with Macklin. So good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
All right, and that was Glenn Campbell, driver of the number 44 machine. Looking good on track, and I'm sure he's feeling good. And he's doing pretty good as well. So Josh Parker, your current race leader, I believe they'll double him up right here. Yeah, I think they're going to go double up. They look like they're already in the process. Yup. So cross the flags over. I think that's what they do at the local track. Can't quite remember. And double them up. So what do you expect on this restart? How long do you think they'll stay green? We're closing in on the halfway mark here, Jacob.
Yeah, we are just about, well, we have 30 out of 100 laps complete almost. We're on lap 28 right now. But, yeah, what do I expect on this restart? Well, of course, drivers trying to get back down to, well, kind of that inside line and kind of single filing. But for the restart, of course, I think you might see a couple of drivers go 3 wide here. Like you said, we're closer to the halfway point, so less racing to go. And I think kind of that first start really will kind of tell us what type of restart we'll have here.
And right now, I'll let you get the green here. It's Josh Parker, rolls around. Daniel Falkingham second, Jose Gonzalez, Comstock Tommy Ryan. Looks very similar to how we started this race 28 laps ago.
Yeah, most definitely the same whole top 5, really top 10. But, of course, who knows what it will be like at the end of the race as the pace car moments away from coming down. There you go. And we are, well, we're back racing here at Autoclub Speedway. And once again, a fantastic start by the 23 of Josh Parker. Exactly what he needed. He'll have to watch out on that high line as they got a fantastic push. But look at that, Daniel Falkingham decides to go on the low line. And just like I said, that's where the speed has been.
And right now, they're trying to single out. Remember, they got double filed pretty quickly on our last start. And they're kind of trying to do it again. It looks like you see Comstock pushing Falkingham, trying to get by Jose Gonzalez in the 26 there. Side by side, really tight there, side by side in the front of the pack here. 3 wide. Who's that in the middle? I want to say that is the 86. Yes, it is. Gerald West. So Gerald West was 3 wide for the moment. You see Macklin up on the top, Campbell on the bottom, side by side as they run. Macklin looking to the inside of Campbell. I think Comstock tagged the wall. Everyone scatters low to avoid him. He's slow at the moment, falling back. He is falling way back. Look at that, like a rock.
Exactly, losing the momentum. Not exactly what he had anticipated on the restart. But I believe we'll see him right back up in that top 5 in no time. He's got that speed. He's got that pace. He knows what he has to do. He can't overdrive the race car, but he for sure will have to have some pace and make sure that that damage does not hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, he's falling way back. It looks like he didn't get too much damage. I think it was just a matter of he lost so much speed and fell out of any sense of any kind of a draft. So he had to fall back, and now he's going to have to try and regain himself and, of course, regain position, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just regain that position. Make sure that you get back into a draft as we got a wreck behind us.
Oh, yeah, it's big. Oh, boy. Joey Gattina's in it. Ricky Harden.
Yeah, boy, that's a nice run there.
Looks like Key was in it again. We're right on board with Joey Gattina through this one. You see, he tried to go low.
And you kind of talked about it earlier too, Matt, that from his missed pit stop basically, as in he lost some time there. he had to fall back kind of outside the top 20 from where he was. And so it shows when you're in the back of the field, you have traffic in front of you and you're more likely to be in a wreck. And sure enough, he got involved in one.
And you see from the chopper cam, the cause of that crash looked like Randy Yoakum came up just a little bit on Jeff Rhine. And that will do it. And that puts quite a few drivers out of contention, unfortunately, for this race. Puts us under our second caution of the evening. Rest of the field heads back down pit lane, headed by Josh Parker. We'll take it to caution cam. We'll be right back. Well, as we near the halfway mark here, the question remains, who do you think wins the race? Jacob, what's your pick?
Well, I think I'd have to go with the racer who is leading right now, Chad Cole. I think he has put himself in a great situation, basically, to not only be leading at the moment, but to really, he's looked impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good pick there. I'm going to go with the 39, Daniel Falkingham. He hasn't led a lap yet, but it's got that feeling. He's fast, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Any momentum that he can get for sure can probably help him to propel him into a victory lane for sure. So a great pick right there as well.
Come on.
And a great restart there for Jose Gonzalez, out and away. As they're going to probably try and single file out, probably a little bit more orderly this time, you know.
Well, I mean, it's very possible that that can happen, and also we can have another restart like that. As I do see
there
another.
You go. I think that was Chad Coleman gone around. Yes, it is. Man, you talk about bad luck on restarts or cautions breed cautions. No caution for that. It was too far down to the bottom, but, well, there goes Coleman. And we'll see what happened. We'll take a look. Because I think Jeff Ryan might have gotten into him. Katina got into Ryan, Ryan into the wall, and Ryan into Coleman and Bonwell. Gotta feel bad for all drivers involved there.
Well, most definitely, for sure, not something that you want to happen basically on a restart. We're kind of, well, 3 for 3 on starts and or restarts. Of course, counting that first start for this race, why we're 3 for 3. Just, of course, hard racing, and you're trying to get single file, and you think you're kind of clear, you think you have some space, and, well, then either you clip someone or get clipped, and it can happen. As well as sometimes it can be netcode where you think you still have a little bit more space and you didn't necessarily touch them and they can wreck. So not necessarily what we want to see, but it's racing.
Yeah, that is for sure. Jose Gonzalez, your current race leader. He's got Glenn Campbell right behind him in second place. See Campbell trying to close up into him. And how about what was that, Kevin Brown on the outside? We were talking about him earlier, back when he was battling what, around 15th place it was, and now he's battling for 5th. So how about that improvement?
Yeah, very impressive. That whole group is kind of in that top 5, top 10, and they were kind of fighting for that top 15 spot in that in the midfield, basically, because you also have Brian Macklin right there behind Kevin Brown. Chad Cole is right there as well. Of course, he was leading a second ago, but decided to drop down to about 7th position. Just didn't necessarily maybe got the restart or something that he wanted to, but still in a perfect position to be right there in that top 10. So talking about all of that, just a switch kind of in momentum for drivers.
Look at Daniel Falkingham going for 2nd place. Now he's got Campbell to his outside. He's got a big push. Look at Josh Parker. He's pushing him like it's Daytona. We're going to ride out his gearbox now. You can actually see into the engine bay of Josh Parker there. iRacing some good detail on that engine. But yeah, look at that. Now Parker's saying, hey, maybe I can get that position, maybe. Now Falkingham's going to have to rely on the push from Glenn Campbell. So these guys driving it like a super speedway. As Josh Parker now your 2nd place driver.
Now, Falkingham is right there, giving him a fantastic push at the moment, too. And that's exactly what you want to, just staying on that low line, kind of diving into the corner, which is exactly what you want to do here.
Yeah, so pretty tight racing for the front of the field. That's pretty impressive to see here at Auto Club. I wouldn't have expected that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's been some interesting racing just watching from this whole week and also getting to, once again, racing the weekly NIS series. It's shown a lot of how this racetrack just races with this package. Of course, we'll see how they race, of course, next week with, of course, the iRacing update. If they have any updates for the new package for NASCAR, haven't necessarily read any of the updates that they're given. I know, of course, it's just the Porsche GT4 and all that, but it's going to be possible if they do change the Aero package.
Well, iRacing confirmed that they will have the new Cup car. Not graphically, but they will have the new physics. So, yeah, we will have the low downforce at Phoenix. So
that will be fun. I was practicing a racing at Phoenix a couple of days ago, and, well, now I guess I'll have to relearn it once again.
Yeah, it won't be like what we had last year. We're going back to the old low downforce package for the short tracks. So it'll be interesting to see a return to that package for those races. And of course, when we go to Texas later in the year, they have the repaved Texas coming to iRacing in the new build as well. So we'll have the new Texas and new Phoenix and the new old low downforce package.
Exactly, new old low downforce. Everyone will rave about that. I think, of course, just kind of getting more in detail as we watch kind of the leaders as they are side by side. Actually, Josh Parker going to maybe take that lead.
Yep, Parker takes it back, going through 3 and 4, it looks like. Oh, he's going to get really tight up to Jose Gonzalez there. But I think Parker's going to have him at the line. He's got a good push from the 39. Yeah, Josh Parker will lead that lap. So Josh Parker, your new race leader.
If I'm not mistaken, Daniel. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Falkingham did that really well last week too at Las Vegas. Was a really good pusher, and of course ended up winning that race late, of course, in the race too. So maybe he might end up winning this race as well here.
Yeah, I believe you may be right about that one. So Josh Parker, your current race leader, as he's trying to work it, as he's got his teammate right up on him, so he doesn't really have to worry too much about the 26 all by himself. And again, now I know we're not in a big super speedway, but drafting's still a factor. What are they doing? They're doing a 2-car tandem, and it seems to be working. Look at second, 4th and 5th as well, kind of doing the same dance back there.
Exactly, it can work for sure. It really does help you catch up to the drivers in front of you. It's still that same downforce package kind of, in that with just that slipstream from, well, Daytona basically. It's still that big of a difference, and it will really just help benefit you. As look at that, they've closed in almost to a car length.
And now that group has formed up to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-car breakaway with Brian Macklin included. Now, Macklin's having a great night. He had a great night at Las Vegas, too. And then what was it, towards the end, he had some bad luck, and there was the same thing at Daytona. So hopefully he breaks that streak here tonight.
Of course, just close his races out is going to be as well. Just make sure that you stay out of trouble, and we'll just hit your marks late in this race. You can hit your marks as early as possible, but as we've talked about before, what matters is that last lap. Where you're at that final lap is going to be key for him.
And right now, side by side, this is for 3rd place. And you can see Macklin on the bottom of the speedway. Really more so the midline. Now going all the way to the bottom. He's got help from Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown jumps to the top. I think Brown's going to probably try to track to the bottom through the corner, perhaps. No. They'll gop in line, but a little too late there. So pretty interesting to see just how this all plays out with these front drivers, you know?
Exactly. This will be, well, yeah, interesting to see. They're as close as can be. I don't necessarily see them trying to make a move anytime soon. Yes, we are coming up on 50 to go, but, well, it's still 50 laps around a 2-mile speedway.
And you know what else is interesting to see? Who is that? Chad Cole, the 17. That car was a nice shiny metallic silver at the start of this race. Now take a look at it, and you'll notice the front end from being in traffic, it's kind of gotten a little bit dull, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of these cars have gotten dull, whether it's on the side or on the front as well. But it shows how hard these drivers are working to try and just, well, get everything going.
The back end of that 17 car still looks brilliant, though, but the front end, yeah, that's a little bit dirty. They'll have to clean it off in preparation for next year. Yeah, you can see going down into those turns. That 17 car Chad Cole closing in on Kevin Brown. Let's take a look back. Brown, say, 27th place. Look at Mark Cretin, Josh Bonwell, John Wilco all battling for position. We haven't talked about these drivers too much tonight. I want to shine a bit of a spotlight on them, you know? Wilco looking pretty good back there. Now, Wilco I think he had a good run at Daytona. Yeah, he finished about 16th. And 18th last week at Las Vegas. So John Wilco's had 2 good runs, not finishing outside the top, not finishing outside the top 20 both weeks. Do you think he gets inside the top 20 before this one's over?
Oh, for sure. I think he will be able to get inside that top 20 before this race is over. We still most likely either we'll see a caution or we'll see, of course, green flag pit stops. And I think that's where he can make up some time. He can even decide to pit early and try that strategy, or pit late and still gain some track position. I think either way he'll advance his position from, well, down in below the top 20, basically. So I think he'll still be able to really just gain that momentum and, of course, that track position when the time comes.
Yeah, 54 laps in now. And you can, well, 54 at the stripe, and you can see he's closing in, trying to close in on Josh Bonwell. He's got to get past that 88, though. And that's going to be the hard task for him there, getting by the 88 car. Now that 88 is a few laps down. Well, he's only 1 lap down after that caution. So he might get one of those laps back. That would be lucky for him. And there you go. He'll be the free pass driver. Steve Ritter has spun around. He's got a lot of damage. That will be his night over, I would imagine. He was racing around the 79 and came up just a little bit. Looks like the only 2 dry. Oh, nope. Joey Gattina got a piece of it. As did Schoonover. So just past halfway, just under 50 laps to go. And there's your caution, but there's the 88. You remember Jimmy Coleman. We were talking about him, what, on the lap 1 incident there, Jacob?
Yeah, exactly.
And there he is. He's back on the lead lap. Technically speaking, back in the race with a handful of laps to go.
Exactly, and you can make a mistake early in this race. It's how you overcome front adversity, and of course you get some luck with you, and that's exactly what he was able to do. Get back on this lead lap And while he'll pit for tires after everyone has, of course, he'll come back on the tail end of the lead lap and see if he can fight for positions and maybe even get some more luck, and maybe we'll see him in the top 5 or top 3.
Yeah, that's going to be the question. Is now that he's going to get the lucky dog, most likely, what do you think he's going to finish here tonight? Where do you think that's going to happen?
I think he can still
I'm
snag a
hoping
top
he's
10.
gonna get that wave around. I don't know if he is. I think I might have saw someone go around him before he did. No, I think he's getting the wave, yeah. Yeah, there he goes. He's got it. Anyway, you were saying?
Well, all I was saying is I think he'll be able to snag a top 10.
Yeah, definitely a good guess there. We'll take it to a quick caution cam. Your current leader is Tommy Ryan here on the American Sim Network. Don't go anywhere. Jacob Young with the green flag, as there will be 42, count them on 42 fingers, I guess, when we go green. Anyway, should be an exciting restart here.
Most definitely, this restart will be key for every driver because who knows, this could be the final caution as we're, well, getting set on, just like you said, close to 40 laps to go, 42 laps to go to be exact, when we hit the stripe here as the pace car motes away from coming down. As there it goes, and we are back racing here at, well, California Motor Speedway or Auto Club, however you want to call it. But we're back racing here. What a fantastic start by the 23 of Josh Parker, once again on the outside line.
Yeah, it was a pretty great restart there for these drivers as they go down and away through the first few corners. And look at Brian Macklin looking for the position. Macklin's got a pretty great run at the moment happening.
Yeah, still side by side here. Buckingham has the advantage on the outside for the time being, and Brian Macklin decides to slide up into third place, which was a smart thing to do. And so now he'll have that run on the low to high line and have some help behind him with, I believe, the 17.
And right now it is Josh Parker, though, your race leader. E.J. O'Rourke looking for position as well. Not finding it, not yet anyway. That's the only problem for E.J. O'Rourke. He's got a lot of ground to cover if he wants the lead, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Does have a lot of ground to cover, but still plenty of racing left to happen. Yes, he will need some luck in order to get up there, but at the same time, as one car hard into the wall.
Yeah, that's the 79 again. Did he have a tire go down? Oh, man, who is that just dodged that? Oh, that's Ricky Hardy. He's going to spin out. That's going to be a caution. He's coming back out on the race. Yep, there it is. Good luck for the 79, Samuel Labate. What caused that? Did he have a tire? No.
It
Perhaps?
might have been something that, well, we've talked about before. Maybe his wheel uncalibrated or something, because it was a weird, just hard right-hand turn into the wall. It was after the corner.
Now, what happened here? Nah, it looks like he just tagged the wall and got loose. But I'd say I thought that would have been no caution. Then Ricky spun right back up on the racetrack. Nothing Ricky could have done differently, though. I mean, once that car lost control, he was just along for the ride, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Bad luck, but oh well. Of course, he was trying to save it too. Was key.
There was a point there where he went from being a driver to passenger in that race car. And it happened very quickly for him. So, caution flag, was that caution flag number 3? We'll take a look here. I want to say caution number 3. Don't quote me. Let's find out. Yep, caution 4, actually. 13 laps under yellow. Look at this, only 2 lead changes officially here tonight. So, you want to talk about the dominance of Josh Parker, there's your proof. We'll be right back on the American Sim Network. Don't go anywhere. Coming back to the green flag now, 66 laps in when we take the green. 35 laps will remain in the race. So it should be pretty interesting in this restart, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Only a handful of laps to go, and we'll see what ends up happening.
Here we go. Pace car getting ready to go down. And green flag back in the air. We are racing. Great start there for Chad Coleman, your new race leader. Not for long, though. It looks like Falkingham might get a better push. And he does. Daniel Falkingham, finally for him, takes the race lead. EJ O'Rourke dives to the bottom. He wants that spot.
Exactly. But I think the lane that will be more successful is, well, what a
save
save.
it. Did Coleman lead that, or did EJ lead it? I think EJ led it.
iRacing saying EJ led it.
And they're wrecking in the back. Jeff Ryan, Bonwell, James Small. So, in the process of checking up for that, they crashed. Bonwell crashed first. How did Ryan? Did Ryan just wreck himself? So there's where Bonwell wrecks. Where does Jeff Ryan come in? Oh, he goes to the bottom. I clips the grass. That's where. So, Daniel Falkingham, he'll go to 6, but I'm sure he's probably, okay, not happy would not be the word I'd use, but I would say maybe pleased, perhaps, about the caution, because think about it, he would have gone further back than 6th had that caution not came out, you know?
Exactly. I say right now it's a mix of emotions. First off, he's relieved that he did not wreck the car, put the car into the wall, or cause a big wreck. And 2, well, yeah, just, well, kind of feeling lucky and almost on cloud 9, of course. Like you said, maybe not necessarily too happy, but he'll go down pit lane in 6th position and get some 4 fresh Goodyear tires once again and maybe fix up a couple of seconds worth of damage and go out there.
So the big thing now is cautions breed cautions, and these drivers got to get through a few clean laps if they want to stay green. EJ O'Rourke electing to stay out, as does who's that? Jose Gonzalez, Josh Parker, and I think Brian Macklin all stay out. So we'll take it to, again, another quick break. We'll be right back here on the American Sim Network. Don't go anywhere. Green Flag Racing returns momentarily. As we close in towards 20 laps to go, we'll have 29 at the stripe. The question is, how long do they go on this restart? They've had a bit of a bad luck on the last few. What do you think happens here, Jacob?
Well, I think they can go green for a long time. I think they can really get this restart perfect and everyone can kind of calm down. They just know they don't necessarily need to go 3 wide on this restart.
Yeah, great restart there for EJ O'Rourke, out and away. So, good racing through the first 2 corners. Brian Macklin trying to score second place. He touched contact there with Medina, or Gonzalez. I don't know where I'm getting Medina from.
Yeah, Gonzalez is just in a bad place. He was trying to side draft him was what was happening because he just didn't have any draft. And so any sort of thing that he could just slow down Josh Parker for a second and gain that speed would be key for him, as now he's got a drafting partner on that low line. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can gain any positions, as he will fall into, I believe, 4th position through that start-finish straight.
Yeah, Macklin trying to take the lead now, as you mentioned, and there it is. New race leader. Can he hold on to it to the front straightaway? That's the question. So right now, down into 3 and 4. Looks like Macklin might actually lead this lap. I don't think Parker will get there quite quick enough. What do you think?
Now, I think that Macklin will be able to lead this lap as well. Parker is in a good position, though, just staying kind of right behind him. Yes, he is on that outside line, or that middle line to be exact, as he does have the better run through turns 2. And now we'll be side by side on that high line, and now has the preferred line as well. That high line's where you want to be, and boom, he'll take the lead right back.
And look at, you can see the 17 car there. Chad Cole trying to gain some ground. And there he goes, up to 3rd place again. So Chad Cole looking to find some speed, and I think he might have found it.
And most definitely, he has come into play close to the end of this race, and that's exactly what I said. You want your car kind of to be really good at the end of this run, and well, he's in a perfect position to have a great car and have an opportunity. He's got the help from behind as well, and so that's always a key thing. You want to hit your marks and have help, and that's exactly what's happening.
Josh Parker trying to pull away now. He's got about half a car length, maybe even a full car length on Brian Macklin. We'll go back just a little bit. Look at Jimmy Coleman. Now remember, he, for the majority of this race, up until about the halfway point, was a lap or more down. Now he's running 20th. I gotta say, he's doing great right there.
Oh, Coleman is doing fantastic. Doing, like you said, was a lap down, and now back on that lead lap. And, well, yes, of course, he wouldn't necessarily expect him to get even up front, maybe to the top 10. I was hoping for that run, still plenty of time for him to do exactly that, but a top 20 from the way that his race started, that's almost a win.
And right now you can see he's there. And that shows the idea of these drivers, the mentality of don't retire the car too early. If he had retired that car lap 1, as I feel like a lot of drivers, I'm not saying anyone in this league, of course, but I feel like a lot of drivers would have, because you figure, you know, you're in a crash like that lap 1, you figure, oh, my race is over, no shot anymore. And look at this, he's racing for a top 20 finish, might even have a chance at the top 15, depending if another caution goes his way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, well, the beauty of racing. You just, well, you never know. And so, of course, yes, those drivers that wreck and say, just like you said, my race is done on that lap 1, they have terminal damage and are like 2 laps down, or not terminal damage, but just basically are 2 laps down, they'll think it's almost impossible to really get a good finish. And
got a
enough,
car
that
around.
just shows you the good to great drivers.
Schoonover almost spun himself around. Good save by the 09 team. David Comstock. Now there's a driver that went, unfortunately, from the front to the back. He was leading, well, not leading, but very close to leading early on. He started third. I hate to say it, but I don't think he's got a chance at a win here tonight. But hey, top 20 still would be able to salvage a good run.
Yeah, exactly. Top 20 salvages. Well, yeah, a good run for sure. And he still has an opportunity to gain more positions. It's not like he can just stay in that top 20. He can also maybe even get closer to that top 15. Of course, it will take some time. There's a couple of drivers that are, 3 seconds back of the leader. And so if he can get there, that'll be perfect for him.
And right now, Josh Parker still leading the race. Do you think Josh Parker wins it? We got about 20 laps to go with the stripe.
Well, I think he can. The only problem will be he'll have to block, most likely. Especially if a driver like Macklin or even Cole get a run on him. Could be EJ O'Rourke, basically that whole top 5. If they're able to put themselves in second place and they can push him out to the lead as much as possible, but once that final lap comes, you and I both know all bets are off. They'll try and get a run down that backstretch and down the final 2 corners and maybe try and pass for that race victory. So right now he could be a sitting duck at the end of this race, but it is still possible for him to block enough.
And right now you can see a driver like Brian Beach. We haven't talked about him all night. That 45, you know, he's in a good position with 19 laps to go. What do you think about his chances of winning?
I think his chances of winning are right up there as well. Just that whole top 10, basically. Because you got, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, basically right under a blanket. And, I mean, once you get out, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, perfect opportunity for you to try and catch up to that pack, because there's still plenty of time left. But yes, the time is starting to run out. But like I'm saying, that whole top 10 is right there. And, if you're in that position, you will have a good opportunity to win, because you know a lot of drivers will try and just make some crazy moves closer to the end of this race. And they could end up wrecking each other, and you could have an all-out battle with the leader.
And look at these leaders. Look at Falkingham there. Looks to the inside. And this front pack, they're under a blanket right now. They may as well be.
Yeah, exactly. And Falkingham, you talked about him a lot, Matt. Well, he kind of had some bad luck that last caution. Well, some bad/good luck. He almost lost the race car, but was able to save it. And then a caution came out for him to keep that 6th position. He hasn't necessarily gained anything since that restart, but hasn't lost anything as well. So Falkingham, guess what? He could be in a perfect position where he could back off and really start to push near the end of this race, maybe 10 or less laps to go, where we could see him start to make some moves towards, the top 5 and the top 4.
And right now, Falkingham to the inside. Not going to happen, though. EJ O'Rourke looking good. Randy Yoakum, he was involved in a crash earlier tonight. He's recovered to 9th. You want to talk about a great run back to the front. Look no further,
Yeah, exactly. We talked about it time and time again. You get caught up in a wreck, Well, you just never know. Yes, it was a 100-lap race, and this is probably not necessarily the shortest distance, but it's just, of course, 100 laps. You don't necessarily think of it as being a lot because we had Las Vegas as 134 laps and just those types of races with that many. And so what I'm trying to get at basically is, well, you're going to try your hardest basically to get up front. And like I said, once again, that's the difference between good and great drivers.
Yeah, you can see watching Yoakum here as he closes in on the back end of Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez was up front earlier. We got 3 wide behind that. Michael Yarrow, Gerald West, and I believe the 9 of Bobby Wetzel. They were 3 wide for a moment. Gerald West had the most speed out of that group. So that was a great run right there. So how about that? Tommy Ryan there trying to gain some ground. He's 10th with 13 to go. Josh Parker, though, still leads, and he's pulling away to a significant margin. What is that, about 4 car lengths? 3 car lengths, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that exactly as well. Just, well, it's exactly what you want to do. You want to try and just grow your margin. And that's exactly what Parker has been able to do for this whole, well, since the restart, basically. He's been fantastic off of restarts, and, well, you want to win a race, this is exactly how you can do it. As well as, well, one thing that we haven't necessarily thought about, which this could end up being a factor, is fuel mileage. As we are getting later and later into this race, we don't necessarily know if these drivers will have enough to make it to the end, but I'm pretty sure they should be able to.
See, look at EJ O'Rourke. I know I've been mentioning him quite a little bit here, but you watch EJ. He's got a lot of speed in that car, and he's bringing it on, I think, right about when it counts, right around now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Look at the run that he's getting off of the 30 car, Brian Macklin. Right off that backstretch, he really was gaining some time on him. And so, of course, maybe he wants to stay behind him. Maybe that could be the key. Brian and EJ, for the time being, just working together to try and make that 2-car tandem. And once again, that 2-car tandem work and catch Josh Parker to where they're right on their bumpers. They're less than half a tenth behind, so that's going to be key.
You can see they're working together. That entire group from Macklin back to Cole, they are all working together, it looks like. They've got to close a lot of ground, about half a second from Macklin to Josh Parker. I think Josh Parker, he's put himself in a perfect position, provided no caution, to potentially win this race.
Exactly, and I think even that with the caution, I've talked about it, his restarts have been flawless, and I think he could still do it even if we were to have another caution. And look at that, he's actually gained some more time off of EJ O'Rourke and even Brian Macklin. But, of course, you talk about the group right behind them, Daniel Falkenham, Kevin Brown, and Chad Cole. They've joined that group, and they're wanting to help to try and maybe get themselves a victory or a top 3.
Yeah, I think right here we're going to get in to probably a great finish here tonight. You know, we've seen good finishes the first 2 races this year. I bet you we're going to see even more good finishes as the season goes on. Look at Falkingham to the inside of EJ O'Rourke, to the back end of Brian Macklin now. This would be Macklin's best finish this season, and the yellow flag flies. Bobby Wetzel has gone around. The number 9 machine. This sets up for a green-white, well, not quite a green-white checker yet. He made contact with the 28 there. Wetzel spins up to the top, tags the outside wall, barely. No, he doesn't touch it, so luckily only damage to the back end of that race car, left rear quarter panel. We're going to let's talk to, how about E.J. O'Rourke? We haven't mentioned him. Well, we have mentioned him, but we haven't talked to him, I don't think, at all this season. So we'll talk to EJ. EJ, have you got a copy on us? EJ, you there?
What?
You have a copy on us there, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, right now, currently you're in 4th place, setting up for what should be a very good finish. Where do you expect to finish?
I can't really hear you over the power of this V8 Chevrolet, but over this trans service Chevy Camaro can get to victory lane. Autoclub Speedway is a good track for us, and never know, I can move for the win here.
All right, well, I think that about answers it. Thank you for talking to us, and best of luck to you in this final restart.
Thank you.
And you went down into racing, right? Alright, so there we go. With E.J. O'Rourke, talking to him and getting his opinion on what he expects to see happen. Of course, very short interview there. He couldn't quite hear us, but hey, should be an exciting finish. Let's watch these pit stops here. What do you think? Who do you think comes out first?
Well, I think
Falkingham slid the box.
I think we'll see the same drivers coming out, and maybe a couple of drivers losing some ground.
Well, how about Tommy Ryan with what I think was a 2-tire stop, as did Randy Yoakum. So there's a strategy and a half. Puts Josh Parker 3rd. Now,
and
you
I
want to talk about a good plan? How about that?
Exactly. I see that strategy working now that I'm kind of thinking about it. At first, when I heard that it was a 2-tire stop, I was thinking, that might not necessarily work. But remember, those left side tires don't burn as much here. It's mainly those right sides. It's just like Phoenix. And so you talk about that. Well, those left side tires could probably still be at about 96, 95%. Yes, with 100% right side tires, it could play just a tiny bit of a factor into it. But at that same time, I think they'll still have enough pace to really be able to compete with the drivers who ended up taking 4 tires too.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see just how it all plays out. We'll be right back for that restart. 4 laps to go when we go green. I tell you, it's going to be the question of, do they go green to the end, or will there be a caution here? What do you think?
Well, I mean, considering how it has gone, I do see another caution in the making, whether or not it is this lap or basically the next one. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get to that white flag, but what it looks like, I don't think so, before another caution.
Pace car down. And here we go. Green flag is back in the air. We are racing once again. Not a lot of racing left here tonight as well. Good restart for Tommy Ryan. Josh Parker, though, a little bit faster here. So Parker a little bit quicker, and Tommy Ryan falls back, and they're going to crash. Caution flag out. That'll be a green-white checker. Oh, man, it's big. Oh, boy. Brian Macklin, Jose Gonzalez, to name 2 of them. We'll watch this from the blimp perspective. And you can see, try and keep an eye, say, on Gerald West there. Maybe the 17, he's a bit more of a neon color. Watch, he gets through it, barely gets through it, you see. Gerald West got a piece of it. I think Chad Coleman. Jimmy Coleman there. I hate to say that Jimmy Coleman got a piece of it, I think, and yes, he did. And we'll watch the 88, and you see here everyone's spinning there. Ricky Hardin's in it, E.J. O'Rourke. Richard Beasley in the 28. At this point, it might be easier to count the cars not involved. David Comstock, Thomas Cristiano also getting a piece of it. Not too much damage, but still nonetheless involved. So we'll take it to a quick caution cam. We don't want to interrupt these drivers, especially right now. I don't want to interview them because, you know, you don't want to get them out of the zone. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we'll be right back and getting ready to go green here. Well, we'll try it again. 2 laps to go at the stripe. We do go green, white, checkers. So what do you think happens here?
Well, it's a matter of who will get to the white flag. Will the leader get to the white flag before we have another wreck? I think that will be what ends up happening. Hopefully, of course, we end up doing exactly that and we get to race this thing out. It will be an interesting sort of thing. We'll see if the 23 can get the same restarts that he's been able to get all night long.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out. Randy Yoakum, after getting through that crash, he gets a chance at the top starting spot. So here we go, pace car getting ready to go down. There he goes. And here we go, green flag back in the air. Parker got a good restart.
No pressure directly in your mirror at all.
And the question is, do they get back to the green flag? Or do they get back to the white flag, I should say, my bad. And look at this, the 25 of Chad Cole trying to make himself a factor. They're wrecking in the back. No caution, not yet anyway. Chad Cole, second place, outside position. Daniel Falkingham, he's third. Off of turn number 4. If they get to the white, they race it out. White flag out. Final lap of the race now. So there you go. They won't have another yellow. Does Josh Parker have what it takes to go to victory lane here in California? Or will it be one of the other drivers? Josh Parker, if he wins, will lead 78 laps. Falkingham to the bottom. Parker tries to block. Can he do it again?
Move there by Parker.
If Daniel gets a run like that again, will he be able to block? Daniel won't get the run. Coming to the checkered flag, it is Josh Parker going to victory lane. 3 weeks, 3 different winners. Daniel Falkingham comes up to a close second. Chad Cole to third place. How about that for Daniel, though? Second place here tonight after winning at Las Vegas. Randy Yoakum fourth. Ricky Harding, Glenn Campbell, Stephen Burnett, Bobby Wetzel, Doug Sigmund, Gerald West, Wilco, Coleman, Beasley, O'Rourke, Lockhart, Coleman, Cretan, Ryan, Burrow, Ryan, Haring, Comstock, Schoonover, Small, Cristiano, Yarrow, Watkins, and Gonzalez, Brown, Macklin, Beach, Watkins, Bonwell, Barham, Labate, Ritter, Gatina, Key, and Surfs round out your field. But the man of the minute, it is Josh Parker, winning here tonight with a fantastic race. And I'll let you get the interview in, Jacob. Take it away.
All right, Josh Parker, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
And we are doing it just great as well. Well, I mean, you win at Autoclub Speedway. Just take us through that final lap.
A whole lot of blocking. I wanted to sign up. I wanted to line up on the top to put Randy on older tires on the bottom to try to slow him down through turns 1 and 2, and just to kind of pull away from him a little bit. And it kind of backfired because they had him pass before turn 1. So after that, it was just a bunch of blocking.
All right, how's the car handling for you through those long and short runs?
It was good. I was trying to be out front the whole time, so for me, it wasn't that bad. If anyone not in the lead, it's obviously always a little bit tighter. So we never really had a green flag pit stop, so nothing really came into play. I guess saving tires. So I mean, just being out front was pretty simple.
All right, well, of course, yeah, you win at Auto Club. Now going over to a short track, which is Phoenix. How can you take this momentum and continue it over there?
For some reason, so I used to be really good at Phoenix before they redid the whole track. Now I suck at it, so I don't think any momentum's gonna help me there next week. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they're going back to the old package, so that'll be fun. Some short track racing with no downforce should be a blast to watch you all race there. Any sponsors that you'd like to thank or shout outs that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I gotta thank Bud Light Seltzer. It's a fake sponsor, but I'm gonna pretend they give me free stuff. Everyone over at Team Name, Falkenham, we had fun there at the end there, and Chad Cole, I had a blast with him. Chad Coleman kind of, yeah, everyone over there. I mean, we had a group in there today, so it was fun. And John Prather was on the pit box making horrible pit calls, but they ended up paying off. And yeah, you guys broadcasting Sim500 putting this on. I think Jody Green, I think, runs this series, right? I don't know, he wasn't here today, so I want to thank him for putting this on.
All right. Well, hey, congrats on winning Autoclub. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again next week.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, next up on the interview block, we will have Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, I know that's got to be hard coming up short by, well, less than a tenth.
Yeah, it's a shame, but to be honest, Josh, he definitely had the best car. Started on pole and pretty much every lap. So, excuse me, he definitely deserved that. And honestly, I'll take that after we got netcode wrecked by EJ. But we kind of got wrecked, so I had to come and use my fast repair. But luckily, kind of put us back in the field. But I kind of got my way back through there. It would have been interesting to see that play out as it did without the last two yellows, because we were going to be good on fuel, and I don't know about everyone else in front of us. So I would like to see how that played out, but I'll take it because I overshot my pit box on that final pit stop and fell back like outside the top 10. Then we somehow missed the big wreck, and then we got to get up there, battle for a win. But we came close. But after what everyone else's luck that they've had, and especially these first 3 weeks, fourth, first, and a second, I'll definitely take it.
Now, if you had, say, one extra lap there at the end, do you think you would have had another shot at it, or do you think Parker had it kind of sealed up?
I think he pretty much kind of had it sealed up there. I mean, I knew the runs were really huge, but just getting stuck in dirty air, especially with this tire model, when the tires take a little bit to get up to temperature, it would have been kind of hard to try to get back at him. Plus, I had Chad Cole come by battling underneath me. So I think he would have had a shot there, but it would have been hard for us just because it is. I mean, like I said, you just get massive runs. By the way, Josh was defending there. I think he would have held on to it just fine. So congrats to him on the win, and good job there, Chad. I'm glad. I want to appreciate him for giving me that little push down the back straightaway, for giving me a shot at Josh. But Josh defended well, and he definitely deserved it.
All right. Well, any sponsor you want to mention?
I just got to thank First Rate Bay Lobster 207 for all they do. Also got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to everyone over here at Sim500 for all they do for the league. Also got to thank everyone here at Team Name, also including Josh Parker, who managed to win the race, and everyone else, Chad Coleman, Dave Kostock, and the rest of the bunch. And also got to thank all the fans who tune in and watch this race tonight.
All right. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week.
Appreciate it.
All right. Last up on the interview block is Jacob Young with Chad Cole.
All right, Chad Cole, how you doing?
We're hanging in there, man. That was a pretty wild one to get through.
It definitely was that whole entire race, but of course, yeah, talk us through, I guess, from your perspective of those final 2 laps. I know that restart was pretty hectic, and then, of course, just getting through there, you were right there for that, well, almost victory.
Yeah, even leading up to that, about 3 to go, lap 97 or 96, something like that. Huge wreck coming out of 4 onto the front stretch, and really fortunate to get through that one because I think I was about 4 wide there at one point. But it's crazy stuff, man. You never know what's going to happen with these guys that are on different strategies, and this tire model that iRacing has with the cold tires. The tires need to get up to temperature before they have good grip, and it's you're really not sure what you're going to end up with. And we had a big one right there, but happy to come away with a third in my first race here with the Saturday Night guys. And yeah, just came up a little bit short. Kind of, I guess overdrove turn 3 a little bit. I think it must have been coming to the white flag and opened the door for Daniel. But I wasn't sure if the race would be over then, or thought maybe I get a chance on the backstretch because they were getting pretty racy there. I wasn't sure if we're all going to end up in a wad of metal in turn 3 or what was going to happen there with the blocking. But those guys did what they had to do, and I think Parker pretty well had us covered for this race. So congrats to him. Daniel, it was a good racing with these guys up front. A lot of respect.
Awesome. Well, of course. So I guess the car was handling pretty all right for you.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this car, but I mean this is about as good as you can get with it. There's so much draft and not a lot of horsepower, so kind of seemed like at some point just kind of riding single file there for the longest time. If you get shoved out of line, you might go back to about 15th or so. So I'm not a real big fan of it, but I mean it is what it is, and we're gonna run it. So I mean. Just the cards we're dealt with.
All right. And of course, how can this momentum, you finished third place, it's still a fantastic finish with, of course, a full field. How will that really how will you be able to bring that type of momentum into Phoenix? I know, of course, it'll be kind of a new race car, new/old race car to learn as the old package of no downforce is coming back for at least the short tracks on iRacing. So how will you be able to kind of manage that?
Yeah, I think it'll have more horsepower too. So it's a different beast, really. There's a lot more car control at these short tracks than there is at these big intermediate tracks, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. I love watching short track racing. I'm not very good on iRacing. However, I feel like it's more in the driver's hands now on the sim side, being that it has more horsepower and less downforce. So Phoenix, I'm not really a big fan of Phoenix either, but had some good runs there recently. Hopefully can continue the success.
All right. Any sponsors or shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Coastal Safety Auditors for sponsoring this Saturday series. It's cool to team up with Jody and Tommy and those guys and bring two leagues together, and we got a Saturday night league now we can run in. This is my first race I've been able to run, so it's cool. If you don't have anything going on, hopefully get some more people out here. It's a fun race. So I need to give a shout out to them and Trans Service who sponsored me on the Sim500 Trans Service series on Monday night. So I haven't been able to make a race so far this year. I'm 0 for 2, so I'll give them a little crossover exposure on the Saturday night series too.
All right. Well, hey, congrats on the third place. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you next week and even maybe tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see y'all in the next race.